Lotus Field. Again, we are here. We are playing it, and we've updated it just a tad bit. I kind of looked around and scoured what people are playing in the list and adding and taking out and what we're kind of doing. So we have a little bit of an update here, some card rearranging, changing, some cards added, some cards taken out. So for cards we added a Sunfall and 2 Marches straight up. March has been a good early spot game removal that we've needed a little bit of, so it's nice to put this in. Sunfall is basically just an early farewell when we're playing against those human decks that play the things that make their creatures indestructible. So we need another exile effect. So it fills in 1 extra spot of this Doomscar that we've changed and lowered down to 2. Juari's Disruption, we found ourselves playing an extra copy of this, trimming on a land, because we would rather have a Juari's Disruption that we can every so often counter a spell or make things awkward for our opponent to ensure that our stuff resolves. Emperor dropped down to 2, it was 3. Memory Deluge drops down to 3 from 4. Farewell drops to 2 from 3. A Shark Typhoon drops from 3 to 2. a lot of words. Strict Proctor. Main reason we get to do this, if you don't or have not seen this deck before, when a permanent enters the battlefield, it counters it unless you pay to. Lotus Field sack ability on it, not really a beneficial trigger. Whenever it enters the battlefield, sacrifice 2 lands. We have our Strict Proctor in play. We refuse to pay the 2 mana, and Lotus Field will stick around, not blowing up our lands. Discontinuity works in similar ways to Strict Proctor. The pay the 2 will go on the stack, and then we'll cast Discontinuity for 2. You get this 2 blue and 2 less cheaper, so we're allowed to kind of pass our turn without paying the tax on Lotus Field. One update, I said this in the first video, but if you did not watch it, you're finding my channel now. When you play Lotus Field, unless they've updated it, which once you get burned by it once, you just play a different way forever. If you play 2 lands and then you go to play your 3rd land with a Lotus Field and you have a Discontinuity in your hand and it's saying it's 2 mana and it's an instant speed spell, it will not stop the trigger from going on the stack and making you pick your 2 lands. You have to hold priority when that trigger goes on the stack. So if you don't know how, it's Control Z. I forget how it is on Apple or Apple device, but on Windows devices, Control Z. You hold that priority, full control mode. Play Discontinuity when your Lotus Field trigger goes on the stack. Pass your turn, ramp your mana, and then play big old Teferi, plus draw some cards, and then end the game with the Dream Trawler. One of the coolest blue-white Anders that they've ever printed, and the coolest Sphinx they've ever printed. Other than that, we're just going to get into the games, see how they go today, and I hope you all enjoy. Alright, we go first. It's like fine. We have the Strict Proctor to play. And Giganta all day today for me has been Sacrifice. So we'll see it be sacrificed again. Just like that. Alright. Weirdly enough, I'm down to let all the ETB stuff happen. I don't want this to get claimed the firstborn and sacked to the oven. So we'll let this turn slide by. And I'd rather kind of keep the Strict Proctor and let it benefit from the Lotus Field. What time Harvester? Strict Proctor stays. We're going to have a really good time. Memory Delusions are going to be a lot easier. The only real problem for our opponent is next turn I can always Discontinuity them, kind of enter their game plan, maybe do some weird shenanigan where they try to bring the cat back, the food be sacked, and then, you know, I have a Discontinuity. Or it won't happen at all. I get Thought Seized. 2 choices. Memory Deluge is a hard choice because we get it back. I have Strict Proctor. Comes Lano backside. Claim. Oh, just a Fatal Push. Okay. So, the best part for us is it doesn't really matter too much here. Because I can play out of Thespian stage. I don't have to walk into this Lotus Field. And on this Doomscar, we can just tuck it away. I plan on Memory Delusion either anyway. Let's tuck this away. I don't want this to be vulnerable to another Thoughtseize. With Lotus Fields, things like that, if they haven't seen the deck, they might be thinking that we're trying to take some extra turns here. Ham Devil? Fucking Numa? Fable. Okay. We gotta let this go, because I don't want to memory lose and then them just untap his Dotsies. Now we'll memory deluge. Gonna make that as me stage copy, but I kind of need to find some cards here. Farewell was pretty good find. I guess we can pick up the March for after. It's all playable. What do we do? We don't have to worry about the graveyard because it's not a cat, so we can keep our memory deluge around. I could just play this, play our Hall. I do want to kind of make a copy, but we can always do that later with the Teferi. Let's play our Hall down. Do this. Let's say creatures, enchantments, artifacts. In theory, they could sack a thing. Okay. They could sack a thing. It would make a food, but they can't really do anything with the food. So, Farewell coming in clutch here. Wiping up the board, resetting their turn. They got 2 cards in hand, and our memory deluge online next turn, and all the other extra cards we have. And his hand, it really wants to draw a Lotus Field, but we gotta throw that away. We have no color. As bad as this looks, I think we farmland, Hallowed Fountain, and then we have Lotus Field plus discontinuity and our turn. We're on the play. On the draw, this is definitely a way worse looking hand. But we get to put one of these big Teferi's on the bottom and then play it after. Plus any draws that we might find ourselves coming into. Let's put one of them down. Farmland. Or, hear me out, we just play the Lotus Field. Throw a Hallowed Fountain in there tapped. Just a reminder, I say it pretty much every time, but just in case this may be the first game you're watching. When you get ready to play this Lotus Field with discontinuity, you have to put it on full control mode. If you don't, it'll automatically skip to the fact that you need to sacrifice your lands unless they've updated it. But I've been burned on it once. I refuse to do it again. Come to Croxa, make us discard. We'll let that happen. I really don't think I want to let any of these go. We'll just take a little bit of burn here. Our first fairy is probably going to be used to puck the shadow. Remove it from play right now. Have this empty board state. They have a lot of cards in hand, so we have some catching up we have to do. Kelly. Yeah, we'll draw. See what we get. That's a memory deluge. Plus take a little bit more damage because why not? We're enjoying the pain. Hello, Teferi. We'll talk to Shieldred as well. But in this time around, we will be able to untap this, maybe make that as being staged copy, cast memory deluge. The Fable. Could be it. Fable we're not afraid of. Tithe Harvester, we're not really afraid of either. I guess we really should just untap with the maximum mana that we can here. Or something like that. Plus. Blue. Right. Cast memory deluge. Okay. We had the option. We're probably grabbing. A little part of me wants to grab out discontinuity and this farewell. Just answer the board. We get to keep our planeswalker around this time, and then go from there. But our opponent's seen enough. Trapaholic. I think you're in the wrong game, big dog. Oh, and we have the discontinuity. They have a Yorion, which is kind of scary, but we'll keep this. deck inbound. 4-color, 5-color, enigmatic incarnation colors. Play strict proctor. They want to remove it with a push. The play, putting up a counter spell. Play strict proctor. 6. Now we don't have to pay for this. We don't have to make anything risky with discontinuity there. They are holding a counter spell. We play Lotus Field. We try to discontinuity. And then they counter discontinuity. We have to blow up 2 lands, so we fall farther behind than we'd like to. Of course. Finding of the Old God. Destroy our strict proctor. Sure. A Mars. They can ramp, but I'm going to just slam a Dream Trawler. We can protect it here. It'll draw a ton of cards. Only thing we're really worried about is maybe a Shieldred. We'll discard most of our hand to this because of how valuable it can be. Especially if they tap out for something. It gives a hexproof though. Not getting indestructible, so if they have some type of board wipe. Oh, Vraska? Be able to answer Vraska here. Do this. Honestly, Dark Typhoon, not super needed. Play Vraska, we're going to be able to take it out here. It's down to 2. And yeah, so we'll attack Vraska. Draw another card. Find another land. Play on the blue side. Get our Teferi up and running. Plus 1 more time. I've done this beforehand, but I wanted to see what we drew off the trawler. We'll end the turn. Untap and untap. Right to end their turn now. Will tell us if they have any spells. They have nothing. Okay. Now we'd be able to end. Then we can use Thesbian Stage to copy. Hand almost looks too normal. We don't have Tron, but it's fine. And like looks so tame in comparison to what we've been keeping with like Lotus Fields, discontinuities, some Proctor, some crazy stuff. But we have a March, we have a Cycle Shark, Memory Illusion to Wandering Emperor. So definitely keep this hand around. Start off with the Hollowed Fountain to protect our life total a little bit. Worst case scenario, we miss 1. This kind of screams to us that we're playing against creativity. Farmland down. If we drew it later, we might consider cycling it. I'd rather get as many colors out as I can. As far as headquarters, kind of fit in that same category where I'm just like, I'll play it now. If I draw it later, we might cycle it. This is the key. I'd be going for an early creativity that you can sometimes pull off with something like this. I could have drawn this because they didn't play it. They shocked on turn 1 and then find themselves needing to play that. Cycle this. Don't need it for anything really. There's our shark that goes bye-bye. Continuity. Pretty nice pickup. Let all this go. This is key is not normally played in these creativity decks, so I'm unsure which version we might be running into. Boy, fire off the Memory Illusion. You can counter this, or they can go for a big score. They do. We don't really play a whole lot of counter spells, so not like we're gonna stop that anytime soon. We do have an Emperor though. We'll grab Impulse and we'll grab a Thesbian Stage if it comes around to the point that we're able to copy a Lotus Field. We have enough white. We don't have enough white in our hand, however. We don't need it because we can white target a treasure if they target one with creativity. And then if they counter our march, we can then Wandering Emperor something away. Comes a Fable though. Sure. A lot of value coming off here. Close. Wire because it's uncounterable interaction. Under step, we don't have to really do a whole lot. Pressure Proctor. Up in ETBs, protect your life total a little bit. Unavailable. Sure. Oh, they have no way to give it haste now. They get rid of the Xenagos. You could have just cast it. Alright, well, we're going to have to try to win this game the fair way. Our opponent's thinking, I would imagine. Look at this now. You negate that. Okay. Definitely have other spells in our hand that they might find more important to negate, but if we keep drawing lands, it'll never matter here. Might be doing something on their upkeep, though. Play around with Jawari's Disruption. Turn. Tell us if they have a counter spell or not. You'll definitely counter this, but if we draw a Farewell, Proctor. Not too thrilled about that. Really think we just want to hold up for Memory Deluge. All happen. Your hand. About to see the big boy get cast. What happens? On the mood to stop that at any time. We're playing the big worm yet. I hope they do. I think it'd be great. Island. Third Fable. Not really what I want to see. Now any real counter magic has to be using their treasures, but treasures they have plenty of. Scar and Lotus Field. You do have no Thespian Stage. I think I have to take the Impulse though. The Memory Deluge. Scar. They have a counter spell still. They've been pretty disciplined on it. Oh, we picked those up. That's pretty good. I'm gonna pay life. We're under 15, so we're under that valuable life total anyway. Now we have our Memory Deluge held up. I don't think Strict Proctor is gonna add too much value. Go to Wara bouncing Giant Worm if they end up playing it. It'll require a lot of their treasures. through 3 Fables now. Or we're working our way through 3. There's a Shark Typhoon, which could have been a big problem if they would have played it at some point. Only it's a 1 of in the main. They could be playing 2 though. Sometimes in the side. Never mind, they have 4 Fable. Fable's incredibly good, especially in multiples. I would assume Fable was the draw, so we might be pretty safe to fire off this Memory Deluge. They will not play the Secrets of the Key, however. Heals down. Don't like the counter. Farewell's great. Continuity's also great. I do it all. I let my Memory Deluge go. I think so, because there's a Xenaghost in their graveyard, and I don't know if they're playing the key. I don't know if they have a way to put their things back in their library. Anything screams that it needs a counter spell. This is definitely it. Secrets of the Key. We're gonna see get investigated here. They make 2. They're gonna sack. They're gonna try to find a negate. Please don't find it. Sack other clue. They're going to do so to draw another card. Here's up the house. There's Lotus field. Can't pay for it. Now we're on our way. Don't have a whole lot of plays. We've taken care of all 4 Fables. So their normal plan of winning is not really online. Have to win in a very fair way now. Wreck Burn, not really existent. Gonna go Scon. Just now have the Worm. Dark Typhoon was also in that graveyard pile, and a lot of lists only play 1. You could play a second though. You see why Farewell earns such a high salt rating in the EDH tables. It gets everything, really. I mean, that's fine. Trick Proctor kind of established what it wanted. Yeah, we'll take our turn here. Find another Farewell. Very nice. Let's go ahead and fire off an Impulse, though. What do we find? A Dream Trawler. Not gonna lie, I've resolved so many Memory Deluges, I just thought it was a Memory Deluge. Get our Dream Trawler in. Our ultimate win condition here. Get put on the bottom in random order, but... Alright. Let's see it, opponent. What you got for me? Mutavault. Mutavault's in there to be a sack target if ever needed. Sure. Targeting the treasure and the Mutavault. Then it goes in the deck. Is there any way that they play like 2 worms? Even if they do, I have it all covered, so it's fine. We'll let this go. Only 1 worm. We let it go because 1, it takes out their treasure and their creature. They bring out the worm. Did they just realize that they banded and their Xenaghost has been exiled? We had it covered. We could Odawara bounce it, so it's not like we were at a loss there, but I don't know. A little weird. Alright, we're going to talk about some of the changes that we've made to the deck, or things that I've personally seen that I liked. We are in best of 1, so some of the changes are kind of for the worse, some are for the better. For example, adding 2 marches into the deck from the previous time that we played it has felt pretty nice. It's been a spot removal card that we sometimes have found ourselves needing. It can get anything as well for the most part. That we find it's important, especially whenever we're playing against like an aggro deck, sometimes playing this early, or we play a lot of decks that are using lands as creatures. When they crew those up or activate them, pay 1 white and exile it, get it out of the way. Finale, Finale might just have to be cut. A lot of times I see it, I throw it away, but it's just such a good one-of bomb in the deck that at any point, if you ever cast this with Lotus Fields or something in play, and your opponent has no way to counter it, the game's over. Like, this is an I win the game button. We're drawing 10. We don't have to worry about milling out because we have Teferi. If you don't know what Teferi Tuck is, it's an old way that people used to win with this when it was in standard. Sometimes they'll do it in other formats. But basically, you have the -3. Put target non-land permanent into its owner's library, third from the top. It can target itself, so you can always redraw the Teferi over and over and over again. So you can do that. But the problem is, a lot of times whenever that happens, we've altered this Teferi, so you'll have no permanents in play, like land. So every time we draw a Teferi, we'll exile your only mana source and do that. So Finale is like really nice. You don't have to worry about the milling out part, especially if you draw 10. If somehow like you draw 10 lands and you just lose that way. Going up to a second Jawari's Disruption kind of felt nice because we trimmed a land to play a second Jawari's Disruption. Because we have 25 lands, but we also have 3 lands that kind of are spells that act as lands in our deck for us. I guess for Finale, one like small note is more playable than like a Seagate Restoration because they both give you no max hand size, but this untaps lands, which is why you prioritize this over Seagate, if maybe that come to mind. But our cheat spells, we got the Strict Proctor and the Discontinuity. There's not a whole lot of other ones that you can really play. You could play Tail's End, but it's just not going to be as good as the Strict Proctor acts as a taxes hate piece against a lot of decks and can slow them down. It oddly just staggers them sometimes. And Discontinuity is pretty much an extra turn spell. You can kind of use that as a counter spell, playing it on your turn defensively if somebody tries to, like, I don't know, for example, in our last match, casting a big score on our instep, we pay 2 mana for this and just make them discard a card, counter their spell, it goes their turn, they have no treasures. Impulse, I saw a list that cut this. I'm not sure that you can. Impulse is literally other copies of Memory Deluge. I think if you were to do anything, maybe 3 of these and 4 of these, because I really enjoy the card Memory Deluge. And every time we had it at the late game stages, it pulled us out and made us win. Wandering Emperor. Final little notes here. Wandering Emperor and Big Teferi. Wandering Emperor is a nice life game piece, a end game winner on its own whenever we get to the point of just plussing up on like a Dream Trawler, making it bigger and bigger and closing out the game with our limited amount of discontinuities that we can play. And Teferi, of course, we have to play this card. It untaps a Lotus Field in our Thespian stage. It's a copy of Lotus Field or multiple copies of Lotus Field because the Strict Proctor actually stayed around long enough for that to happen. Being able to plus with this, play a Memory Deluge, and then untap that 6 mana again, and then maybe play the other half the Memory Deluge, or doing things like getting these off and then untapping and being able to hold up 4 mana to play a couple other things, which is also why March has been really nice. Farewell is still one of the best spells, but we had to trim one for a Sunfall because we wanted that exile effect just a little bit earlier sometimes. And then Doomscar, you can tuck this away, use it on 3. And then the Shark Typhoon's down to 2 instead of 3. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed the update on the list. I'm not entirely sure what I like too much, like what I like better. I had better results with the other one, but you also can just have those days where you run hot. I haven't played like 100 games with each yet or something like that. But the other one seemed to flow a little bit better than this one. But this one with the marches and stuff feels like it should be better, but I'm not entirely sure. So if you have any opinions, please leave them in the comments below. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you around in the next one.